I'm Blake and welcome to my bog. It's time for this year's willow harvest. You can harvest willow in fall or late winter. I prefer late winter before the buds leaf out. I try to hit them between the coldest part of the winter, when we get a solid freeze for a while, and the limbo of springish days that can turn into cold snaps at a moment's notice. This gives the plant time to exhaust some of the sugars it has stored up to make the branches less brittle. It also makes it a little bit more likely for me in my climate that if I need to plant any of these rods, that they will leaf out successfully and give me a new plant. If you don't want to play chicken with the weather, you can harvest them in fall and they will still be usable for crafting. So if you are harvesting to reproduce, to make living fences or other structures, it's best to harvest in late winter for a better chance at successful transplants in spring. Climates will vary though, so you might want to check with some skilled gardeners around you when they recommend to harvest willow for various uses. Everything from baskets to boats have been made from the branches of the willow tree, which are often called rods. It is one of the plants that unites many communities around the world in their ethnobotanical practices. To harvest, we'll use a pair of shears to cut the branches or rods as close to the ground as possible below all of the buds. When you're doing this method of trimming, you want to make sure that you don't leave any leaf buds above the ground. There are many other ways you can trim willows as well. This can be used to facilitate different needs or make harvests easier. Willow is not just structurally useful, it is also a pharmaceutical that you probably have in your medicine cabinet. Salicylic acid, derived from the plant, is the basis for aspirin. Long before it was synthesized into pills though, it was used by people across the northern hemisphere as a natural remedy. Infusions of willow leaves and bark create an analgesic. This has been used by many tribes across Turtle Island to treat headaches, arthritis, and other aches and pains. In poultices, it can be used to treat eczema and disinfect gangrene wounds. Outside of pharmaceuticals, the inner bark of the willow can be pounded into a flour to make cakes and breads after drying. The leaves, in catkins or willow blooms, can also be used to create soups and dried as spices. With all of these uses, it is no wonder that there are many tribes for which the willow has become a staple of religious practices as well. The Navajo use the willow rods to make hoops for their amazing hoop dance, a symbol of the cycle of life and death. The Hopi, Zuni, and other Pueblo groups use rods to make prayer sticks. I plan to use my willow rods for a variety of applications. I've already started some living fence experiments, and I would also like to try making a living willow structure as well. Now that I have all these branches harvested, I'll bundle them up and store them in the cellar until I'm ready to use them. If you're interested in growing your own willow shrub or tree, they are exceptionally easy to grow from a cutting rooted in water. Just pop the cutting in some soil once it has rooted to get started at any time of summer. Usually you can just stick a willow rod in the ground and it will take off on its own, especially during spring. This is the basis for how you make the living plant structures, and this is one of the things that I'm definitely going to make a video about in the future. So if that interests you, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell to be alerted to find out where these rods end up, and hit the like button and share this video with anyone you might think would be interested in learning about how useful the humble willow growing in their yard truly is.